John Keats to autumn, season of mists and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless with fruit the vines that round the thatch eaves run, to bend with apples the mossed cottage trees, and fill all fruit with ripeness to the core, to swell the gourd and plump the hazel shells with a sweet kernel to set budding more. And still more later, flowers for the bees, until they think warm days will never cease, for summer has overbrimmed their clammy cells. Who hath not seen these oft amid thy store? Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting careless on a granary floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind, or on a half-reaped furrow sound asleep, drowsed with the fume of poppies, while they hook spares the next swath and all its twined flowers. And sometimes like a gleaner thou dost keep steady thy laden head across a brook, or by a cider press with patient look thou watchest the last oozings hour by hours. Where are the songs of spring? Aye, where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too, while barred clouds bloom the soft dying day, and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue. Then in a wailful choir the small gnats mourn, among the river sallows borne aloft, or sinking as the light wind lives or dies. And full-grown lambs loud bleat from hilly bourne, hedge crickets sing, and now with treble soft the red-breast whistles from a garden croft, and gathering swallows twitter in the skies. R.S. Thomas, Priest and Peasant. You are ill, Davies, ill in mind, an old canker to your kind. Peculiar has laid waste the brain's potential richness in delight and beauty, and your body grows hoary like an old thorn for lack of the soil's depth. And sickness there uncurls slowly its small tongues of fungus that shall, thickening, swell and choke you, while your few leaves are green still. And so you work in the wet fields and suffer pain and loneliness as a tree takes the night's darkness, the day's rain, while I watch you and pray for you, and so increase my small store of credit in the bank of God, who sees you suffer and me pray, and touches you with the sun's ray that heals not, yet blinds my eyes and seals my lips, as Job's were sealed imperiously in the old days. The lonely farmer. Poor hill farmer, astray in the grass, there came a movement and he looked up, but all that he saw was the wind pass. There was a sound of voice on the air, but where? It was only the glib stream talking softly to itself. And once when he was walking along a lane in spring, he was deceived by a shrill whistle coming through the leaves. Wait a minute, 4 swift notes. He turned, and it was nothing, only a thrush in the thorn bushes easing its throat. He swore at himself for paying heed, the poor hill farmer, so often again stopping, staring, listening in vain, his ear betrayed by the heart's need. John Betjeman, in Memoriam, Walter Ramsden, an Oxford professor, 1868 to 1947, biochemist and physiologist. Dr. Ramsden cannot read the Times obituary today. He's dead. Let monographs on silkworms by other people be thrown away unread. For he who best could understand and criticise them, he lies clay in bed. The body waits in Pembroke College, where the ivy taps the panes all night. That old head so full of knowledge, that good heart that kept the brains all right. Those old cheeks that faintly flushed as the port suffused the veins, drained white. Crocus in the fellow's garden, winter jasmine up the wall gleam gold. Shadows of Victorian chimneys on the sunny grass plot fall, long cold, master, bursar, senior tutor. These, his 3 survivors, all feel old. They remember as the coffin to its final obsequiations leaves the gates, buzz of bees in window boxes, on their summer ministrations, kitchen din, cups and plates, and the getting of bump suppers for the long-dead generations coming in from eights. John Donne at the round earth's imagined corners. At the round earth's imagined corners, blow your trumpets, angels, and arise, arise from death, you numberless infinities of souls, and to your scattered bodies go. All whom the flood did and the fire shall overthrow, all whom war, dearth, age, ages, tyrannies, despair, law, chance hath slain, and you whose eyes shall behold God and never taste death's woe. But let them sleep, Lord, and me mourn a space. For if above all these my sins abound, 'tis late to ask abundance of thy grace. When we are there here on this lowly ground, teach me how to repent, for that's as good as if thou hadst sealed my pardon with thy blood. John Donne, Elegy 4, for his father. Once, and but once found in thy company, all thy supposed escapes are laid on me, and as a thief at bar is questioned there by all the men that have been robed that year, so am I by this traitorous means surprised, by thy hydroptic father catechized. Though he had wont to search with glazed eyes, as though he came to kill a cockatrice, though he had oft sworn that he would remove thy beauty's beauty and food of our love, hope of his goods, if I with thee were seen, yet close and secret as our souls we've been. Though thy immortal mother, which doth lie, still buried in her bed, yet will not die, takes this advantage to sleep out daylight, and watch thy entries and returns all night. And when she takes thy hand, it would seem kind, doth search what rings and armlets she can find, and kissing notes the colour of thy face, and fearing lest thought swollen doth thee embrace, to try if thou long doth name strange meats, and notes thy paleness, blushing sigh, and sweats, and politically will to thee confess the sins of her own youth's rank lustiness, yet love these sorceries did remove, and move thee to gull thine own mother for my love. Thy little brethren, which like fairy sprites oft skipped into our chamber those sweet nights, and kissed and ingled on thy father's knee, were bribed next day to tell what they did see. the grim 8-foot-high iron-bound serving man that oft names God in oaths, and only then he that to bar the first gate doth as wide as the great Rhodian Colossus ride, which, if in hell no other pains there were, makes me fear hell because he must be there. Though by thy father he were hired to this, could never witness any touch or kiss, but oh, to common ill I brought with me that which betrayed me to my enemy. The loud perfume which at my entrance cried, even at thy father's nose, so were we spied. When, like a tyrant king that in his bed smelt gunpowder, the pale wretch shivered. Had it been some bad smell, he would have thought that his own feet or breath that smell had wrought. But as we in our isle imprisoned, where cattle only and diverse dogs are bred, the precious unicorn strange monsters call, so thought he good strange that had none at all. I taught my silks their whistling to forbear, even my oppressed shoes dumb and speechless were, only though bittersweet whom I had laid next me traitorously last betrayed, and unsuspected hast invisibly at once fled unto him and stayed with me. Base excrement of earth, which dost confound sense from distinguishing the sick from sound, by thee the seely amorous sucks his death by drawing in a leprous harlot's breath. By thee the greatest stain to man's estate falls on us to be called effeminate. Though you be much loved in the prince's hall, there things that seem exceed substantial. Gods we ye fumed on altars were pleased well, because you were burnt, not that they liked your smell. Your loathsome all being taken simply alone, shall we love ill things joined and hate each one? If you are good, your good doth soon decay, and you are rare that takes the good away. All my perfumes I give most willingly to embalm thy father's corse. What? Will he die? Donne, Holy Sonnet 10. Death, be not proud. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me, from rest and sleep which but thy pictures be. Much pleasure then from thee, much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go. Rest of their bones and souls delivery, thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dost with poison, war, and sickness dwell, and poppy or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke wise swellest thou then. One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. Francis Thompson, The Hound of Heaven, 1890. fled him. Down the nights and down the days I fled him. Down the arcs of the years I fled him. Down the labyrinthian ways of my own mind, and in the mist of tears I hid from him, and under running laughter, up vista'd hopes I sped, and shot precipitated, adown titanic glooms of chasmed fears, from those strong feet that followed after, but with unhurrying chase, an unperturbed pace and deliberate speed, majestic instancy, they beat, and a voice beat more instant than the feet. All things betray thee who betrayest me. I pleaded outlaw-wise by many a hearted casement, curtained red, trellised with intertwining charities. For though I knew his love who followed, yet was I sore adread, lest having him I must have naught beside. But if one little casement parted wide, the gust of his approach would clash it too. Fear wist not to evade as love wist to pursue. Across the margent of the world I fled, and troubled the gold gateways of the stars, smiting for shelter on their clanged bars, fretted to dulcet jars and sylvan chatter the pale ports of the moon. I said to dawn, be sudden, to eve, be soon. With thy young skiey blossoms heap me over, from this tremendous lover float thy vague veil about me, lest he see. I tempted all his servitors, but to find my own betrayal in their constancy, and fate to him their fickleness to me, their traitorous trueness and their loyal deceit. To all swift things for swiftness did I sue, clung to the whistling mane of every wind, but whether they swept smoothly fleet the long savannas of the blue, or whether, thunder-driven, they clanged his chariot thwart a heaven, plashy with flying lightnings round the spurn of their feet, fear wist not to evade as love wist to pursue. Still with unhurrying chase and unperturbed pace, deliberate speed, majestic instancy, came on the following feet, and a voice above their beat. Naught shelters thee, thou wilt not shelter me. I sought no more than after which I strayed, in face of man or maid, but still within the little children's eyes seems something that replies. They at least are for me, surely for me. I turned me to them very wistfully, but just as their young eyes grew sudden fair, with dawning answers there, their angel plucked them from me by the hair. Come then, ye other children, nature's share with me, said I, your delicate fellowship. Let me greet you lip to lip, let me twine with your caresses, wantoning with our lady mother's vagrant tresses, banqueting with her in her wind-walled palace, underneath her azured days, quaffing as your taintless way is from the chalice, lucent weeping out of the day spring. So it was done. I in their delicate fellowship was one. Through the bolt of nature's secrecies I knew all the swift importings on the willful face of skies. I knew how the clouds arise, spumed of the wild sea snortings. All that spawn or dies, rose and drooped with, made them shapers of mine own moods, or wakeful or divine. With them joyed and was bereaven. I was heavy with the even, when she lit her glimmering tapers round the day's dead sanctities. I laughed in the morning's eyes. I triumphed and I saddened with all weather. Heaven and I wept together, and its sweet tears were salt with mortal mine. Against the red throb of its sunset heart I laid my own to beat and share comingly heat, but not by that was eased my human smart. In vain my tears were wet on heaven's great sheet, for we know not what each other says. These things and I in sound I speak, their sound is but their stir, they speak by silences. nature. Poor stepdame cannot slake my drouth. Let her, if she would owe me, drop yon blue bosom veil of sky and show me the breast her tenderness. Never did any milk of hers once bless my thirsting mouth. Nigh and nigh draws the chase, with unperturbed pace, deliberate speed, majestic instancy. Past these noir defeat, a voice comes yet more fleet. Lo, naught contents thee, who contentest not me. Naked I wait thy love's uplift stroke, my harness piece by piece thou hast hewn from me, and smitten me to my knee. I am defenceless utterly, I slept methinks and woke, and slowly gazing find me stripped in sleep. In the rash, lusty head of my young powers, I shook the pillaring hours, and pulled my life upon me grimed with smears. I stand amid the dust over the mounded years. My mangled youth lies dead beneath the heap. My days have crackled and gone up in smoke, have puffed and burst, and sun starts on a stream. Yea, faileth now even dream, the dreamer and the lutanist, even the linked fantasies in whose blossomy twist I swung the earth, a trinket at my wrist. A yielding cords of all too weak account, for earth with heavy grief so overplussed. Ah, is thy love indeed a weed, albeit an amaranthine weed, suffering no flowers except its own to mount? Ah, must, designer infinite, must thou char the wood here thou canst limn with it? My freshness spent its wavering shower, I the dust, and now my heart is a broken fount, wherein tear drippings stagnate, spilt down ever from the dank thoughts that shiver upon the sighful branches of my mind. Such is what is to be, the pulp so bitter, how shall taste the rind? I dimly guess what time in mist confounds, yet ever and anon a trumpet sounds from the hid battlements of eternity. Those shaken mists a space unsettle, then round the half-glimpsed turrets slowly wash again, but not here whom summoneth I first have seen enwound with glooming robes purpureal, cypress crowned. His name I know, and what his trumpet saith, whether man's heart or life it be which yields thee harvest must thy harvest fields be dunged with rotten death. Now of that long pursuit comes on at hand the brute that voices round me like a bursting sea. And is thy earth so marred, shattered in shard on shard? Lo, all things fly thee, for thou fliest me. Strange, piteous, futile thing, wherefore should any set thee love apart, seeing none but I make much of naught, he said, and human love needs human meriting. How hast thou merited of all man's clotted clay the dingiest clot? Alack, thou knowest not how little worthy of any love thou art, whom wilt thou find to love ignobly? Save me, save only me. All which I took from thee I did but take, not for thy harms, but just that thou mightest seek it in my arms. All which thy child's mistake fancies as lost, I have stored for thee at home. Rise, clasp my hand and come. Halts by me that footfall, is my gloom after all. Shade of his hand outstretched caressingly. Ah, fondest, blindest, weakest, I am he whom thou seekest. Thou dravest love from thee, who dravest me.